Hi, I'm Bindy.
Hi, I'm Phil.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about Sever's disease, which is a condition often seen in young kids, as per behind us. We've recently seen with the school holidays and COVID restrictions lifting that there's been a few kids coming in with Sever's because their activities increased and they're just sort of going back to whatever they were doing, or they've been out of their good school shoes. So, Sever's, what is Sever's? Phil?
Well, Sever's is a condition that causes heel pain in children of a specific age. So It's a growth plate injury. Growth plate injuries can happen anywhere in the body. So when we're born, we're all rubbery like cartilage, and then as we grow, our bones ossify, which they turn from a cartilage-like material to a bone, right? So mature bone. And for our bones to continue to grow, they have these lines or these growth regions in them. Now, when we stop growing in size, our bones, that's when our bones have reached the size they need to get to. And those growth centers or those growth lines actually fuse together and become one bone. So two bones become one, essentially. And the heel bone does this right at the age of around 8, 9, 10, 11. Boys and girls are slightly different, but that's around the age where the heel bone is fully grown and trying to stop. So essentially it's a disruption of that growth area in the heel right along here. So it's sort of like the main part of bone and the secondary growth center or the growth plate trying to fuse on. So Sever's disease, or calcaneal apophysitis, fancy term, is an inflammation of that growth plate in the heel. Mm-hmm. Did I do okay?
So you did. You did great. Thanks, Phil. I'm taking charge today, as you can see. So we'll talk about why that happens, mechanically why that happens. So if you look at this diagram, there's the growth plate, as Phil mentioned, at the back of the heel, and your plantar fasciitis, which runs along the bottom of the foot, it inserts into the bone there, and then you've got your Achilles tendon. And so both of those, as the child's growing or is increased activity, they start playing tug of war and they start irritating that plate, and that's why you get that heel pain. You can often test it easily by just squeezing at the back of the heel.
Often kids will really have a lot of pain and they'll say it feels like my heel's broken or really badly bruised, and essentially what's happening is as those two growth areas are trying to fuse together and become one bone, if they get disrupted and those fragile attachments crack, it feels like a break because it's doing the same thing that a fracture would do. It's causing swelling in the bone.
And it's very debilitating for kids as well. It just stops them doing their activities.
And it often sneaks up and it becomes worse and worse and worse as more activity happens. So the classic presentation that we'll have mum or dad and a 10-year-old boy or girl will be in, and they'll say, it'll be halfway through the footy season or the netball season or the hockey season. They'll say, little Johnny is just limping around during or after sport, can't put weight on his or her heel, and it goes away after a day or two, but then as soon as they're back doing training or sport, this heel pain comes back again. Well, I mean, we're not diagnosing your child right now, but if that is the story, the chance that your child has Sever's or apophysitis of the calcaneus is pretty high. So
So there are a few treatment options for that depending on what's happening. Should we discuss that briefly?
Yeah. Well, the main issue, Bindy talked before about the attachment of some fascia and tendon to this area. And like anything, it works better if it's working in the right position. So usually when we see this condition, we'll see something not quite right with the balance between these two tendons and the way they affect the heel. So generally we'll see this condition in children whose feet tend to pronate or roll in a little bit more than we like, because that increases the tension of those attachments on that secondary growth plate. So we've got various treatments for that.
Yeah. One of them is simply stretching, but that usually also needs, so stretching is one part of the treatment. That helps to just take the initial stress off the tendon, but then you still have to correct the foot posture. So it's addressing footwear, looking at what's in the shoes, what that person's doing, and if required, then putting some appropriate insoles in there too.
Yeah. The priority for this condition is, on its own, it will get better. Without any intervention, within about 12 months, most kids this condition will resolve. And often that's what will happen. If you go see your GP or a more generalist professional, they'll say, this will go away on its own. They are right. What we love to do is turn 12 months into 1 month. So we like to have kids back, reduce symptoms, no more tissue stress and no more pain within about 4 to 6 weeks. And we do that all the time. And the way we do that is we really look at getting the foot to work better and reducing the stress. So we have had children in the past who've quit a season of the sport that they love, and that's not ideal at this age. As you know, kids at this age, really, if you can get them interested in a sport and they're enjoying it, it's great to keep that interest there. But a season out of sport with a problem like this really can be the difference between not continuing to be active and be healthy. And we don't want that. We want people to enjoy their lives. They want to live without foot pain.
Keep people moving.
Yeah, so if you have a child at home that has heel pain and they're around that 10 years of age, give or take a few years, definitely come and see us, because there are other things that can go wrong. But regardless of what the injury is, we can develop a treatment plan and get your child back to normal nice and quickly. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll wrap it up here. Thank you for watching this video.
And see you another day. Bye bye.